Welcome to the Fleet Safety Geeks podcast, where we discuss the latest industry trends, best practices, and strategies for keeping your fleet and its drivers safe on the road. Whether you're a fleet manager, safety professional, or a driver yourself, our goal is to provide valuable insights and actionable tips to help you prevent accidents, protect lives, and promote a culture of safety within your organization. From vehicle maintenance and driver training to regulations and technology, we cover it all. Tune in every week as we explore the challenges and opportunities of fleet safety in today's fast-paced, ever-changing world. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Fleet Safety Geeks. I'm here with Phil Mosier. Phil, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, Bob?
Doing great. Thank you. I think we're going to talk today about personal safety around vehicle thefts and catalytic converter thefts. They're increasing in our industry and in general. So it's a lot of people are getting injured trying to confront the thieves, right?
Yeah. So I just first of all, Bob, I want to just say to if anybody's watching this on YouTube, I'm wearing my fleece hoodie today because they're calling for snow here in Pennsylvania today, and you know what? I'm about over it. But yeah, so you'll have to forgive my my casual look here, I guess. But it's not like we're uh, accepting an Oscar or anything. So I think a casual hoodie on Fleet Safety Geeks, I guess, is just fine. Yeah. So this so. What brought my attention to this one? I've known this has been going on for quite some time now, but there's just been a drastic increase in the number of catalytic converter thefts. And I'll be honest with you, what really brought my attention to this, and I started discussing it with you, was a great article that was put out by our friend and former guest here on Fleet Safety Geeks, Mike Antich, who is the editor of Automotive Fleet. And he wrote a fantastic article that covers this, and I just thought that it might be a pretty important topic to cover, so that again we're fleet safety geeks. I'm hoping that, but as we always say, anybody who drives can learn something from this podcast. So we're going to talk about fleet vehicles and what fleet drivers should be doing. But again, this is applicable to anybody who drives.
Yeah, and to be clear, Mike Antich has a whole video series about it. He did a video on the personal safety around catalytic converter theft, and I'll put a link to that video in the description of our YouTube video here. So anybody listening on a audio podcast platform, please just go to our YouTube channel, Fleet Safety Geeks, and if you want to see Mike's video there talking about catalytic converter theft, personal safety, go ahead and watch that as well.
Yeah, and then the other topic I'd like to cover here, because that's a pretty, topic we can cover fairly quickly, but not to glaze over it, but it's just vehicle thefts themselves. There's been an increase in vehicle thefts because of the push button start vehicles. So people are leaving their key fobs in the vehicles, and we're going to discuss that and how to guard against becoming a victim of a vehicle theft.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Well, so stealing from Mike Antich's statistics, we have a good number of yeah, exactly. Thanks, Mike. He's done a great job of putting some information together. Catalytic converter theft has really increased in the last 4 or 5 years. In the last couple of years, it's just skyrocketed, right?
Right. So, according to what I read, it's been a 325% increase from 2020 to 2021. A 325% increase in catalytic converter thefts in just 1 year. Now, I haven't seen any 2022 stats. Those stats are always slow getting out, just like the crash stats. But I can assure you that they have not gone down. So how do we guard against that is, I guess, the question.
Right. So obviously catalytic converters are, we don't want to encourage why it's happening on a podcast that's going to be out there for everybody to listen to. But there's some value in catalytic converters, and that's why they get stolen. Anytime someone steals something, it's because they can resell it for more money. There's precious metals inside there that are valuable. So some vehicles are easier to steal than others, right? Trucks that sit off the ground or lighter vehicles, easy to jack up. And if what's been happening is, people get under there, they cut it off really quick, but the owner of the vehicle is identifying that somebody is doing something to their vehicle, and they confront them, and then they get injured from the person who's stealing the catalytic converter.
Right. So there have been more and more cases of violence against the victims of these thefts. So when a vehicle owner confronts, there have been numerous cases now where vehicle owners have confronted these thieves, and they get shot or beat up or stabbed or whatever. They get assaulted trying to stop the theft. So the listen, no catalytic converter, nothing. The vehicle itself, nothing is worth your life.
Right.
So you don't risk that. I mean, just again, just what's the priority here?
Right.
So if you see somebody uh, stealing your, making a theft of your out of your vehicle or off your vehicle, just dial 911. Flip some lights on if you have lights, and that's the thing that thieves hate the most, Bob, is light. They don't want to be seen. They want to go undetected. So there are some things, and we'll talk about some of the things you can do to avoid becoming the victim of one of these thefts. But if you do come across somebody committing this crime, and under there with a saw, under your vehicle with a saw, avoid the urge. Listen, I have a temper. I'd want to just rip that person out of there and pummel them, probably, right? But not a smart idea. Step back, go inside, dial 911, flip lights on if there are outside lights, flip the lights on, and maybe they'll bug out. But that's the best thing you can do. There was a particular case where a guy was on a third floor balcony, saw some dude under his car, started shouting at him, and he was shot.
Oh,
They shot the guy up in his balcony. So, I mean, these are the things that are going on. Another case, and Mike had another case in his article where a car owner confronted a thief. They hopped in a car, took off, then came back around and shot the guy as he was standing next to his car. They
hmm.
had already left. They came back. So we're not talking about reasonable people here, obviously. Listen, and people might not be too happy with what I'm about to say. These are dirtball thieves. Okay, they're criminals. They should be locked up. That's my opinion. Angry Phil's coming out, but I'm enough of this with coddling criminals. They should be locked up. Now, people can say, "Oh, well, there are any number of reasons why we're doing that." I can't find any reason why we can justify anything, committing a crime like this, and then to murder and ag assault the victims of the car owners. I mean, come on, we're just making a really, really, really bad situation much, 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 much worse.
Right.
So do not confront these idiots. Just step back, go inside, call 911, flip a light on, do whatever you have to.
Right. Yep, that's good advice. And we've talked about this before: personal safety around where you park. The catalytic converter thefts and auto thefts and theft from vehicles isn't just happening in driveways; they're happening in parking lots and public
That's
areas.
exactly right.
But where you park in those parking lots and public areas is important, right? Park near,
Exactly.
um, under a light, as in the center of the parking lot as possible, right? Don't park
Right.
on the edges. Don't park near the dumpsters. Bushes, is
Bushes,
another
things like
good
that.
spot.
Right. Right.
Um, and if you do have outdoor lighting or sensor lights at home, consider adding a camera.
Right.
Um, Police really like having video proof, and they are able to see who it is, and maybe they're aware of that happening in the area, and it will help their statistics and possibly catching somebody. But certainly, park somewhere where you will be personally safe, even in a public parking lot. And that goes
Correct.
for any kind of theft from the vehicle, right? And we wanted to talk about car theft. I know that there's a certain brand that has been very popular to steal because it's easy to steal. Hyundai and Kia, vehicles have been stolen at a higher rate than other vehicles, and we were doing some research, and it's because their key fob was lacking the certain technology,
The
to
security
keep it
chip.
from getting stolen. It was easy to hack into, and I think that they're correcting that. Um,
Yes,
but there's that happening. But even worse, like you mentioned, is people just leaving the key fob in the vehicle for convenience. That's not a
correct.
good idea.
Right. And I just want to step back for a second too, Bob, and just even where you park at home is important.
Mm,
So I have on my home on the side and then around the back, I have sensor lights that they just go on automatically. So if
mhm.
somebody walks in the area, it just they light up. Like I said before, the thing that criminals hate the most is being seen. They want to go undetected. So lights are
Right.
fantastic. So those bright floodlights that flip on when somebody walks through, I'm all for it. Do that. Put those things up and be careful where you park your vehicle. If you park it real close to your home, or you just don't give people natural cover, right? And as you're approaching your vehicle, you can see underneath it. Look underneath. Don't
Mm.
just walk right up and with your head down in your phone as you're walking up to your vehicle. Now, getting back to the key fobs, so there's been an increase in the number of vehicle thefts because of push button start. People are leaving their key fobs in the vehicles. That's why I put my spare key in the vehicle. So here's what happens. There are thieves who walk around neighborhoods, up and down streets, and they just pull on door handles to hope to get into the vehicle, rifle through glove boxes, look under seats and everything for anything that they deem valuable. It could be just loose change. It could be a phone. It could be a tablet. It could be a computer. It could be anything. They're just looking for something to take. If they see a push button start, they figure, well, what the heck? Let's try it. They put their foot on the brake, push the button, and if it starts, now they drive off. Now they've stolen more than your tablet. Now they're driving down the road in your car because you left the dang key in the car. Don't do that. Technical term for that. Bad. Don't do it. Okay. So always make sure you take your key fob with you, and always, I don't care if you're away from your vehicle for 30 seconds, lock the door. Okay. Take the key, lock the door every time. Take the key, lock the door every time. Take the key, lock the door every time. I can't say this enough. Okay. I mean, it just makes it's common sense, isn't it? But there are a lot of people, this is happening a lot. So again, why become the victim because you did something silly like leaving your key fob? And by the way, I've heard people say, "Oh I locked the door." Guess what? No, you didn't. If that key fob is in there, your door is not going to lock. Most key fob systems are the vehicle will not. It's impossible, not unless you leave the window open a little bit, lock the door and close it, and then throw the key inside. That's about the only way that's going to work. If you have a key
Yeah.
fob in there, the car senses it and it will not lock the door and say, "Well, I locked it." No, you didn't. And it'll
Right.
it'll give you, it's a lot of the systems will give you like a weird beep, like a beep beep, real quick beep saying, "Hey, no, the fob's in the vehicle, dummy, come back and get it." So I'm being pretty
Yeah.
brutal here today, Bob. I'm sorry.
I love it.
I'm a little edgy this morning. But
That's great.
but
But it's a
it's
good point.
silly,
Don't make it easy, right?
right?
Let's just not make it easy.
Exactly.
Now I will say, in anybody's defense who leaves the key fob in the vehicle, I used to be able to carry a key for my car and my wife's car on my keychain. Now I
Right.
can't. It's like 20 pounds in my
I know,
pocket.
right? Fobs are
I
the
mean,
size of your head, you know.
you know, it's like, it would be nice if we could find a way to
Yeah,
downsize these proximity key fobs and make it easier to carry. Um, I will say I don't want to promote any kind of brand, but there is an electric vehicle company. Maybe I won't say it. That I test drove, and the key was a card, like the size of
oh,
a
that's
credit card.
cool.
Yeah, and you just keep it in your wallet and you slide it up and down to unlock the car, and
Right.
you don't even need the key or anything in the vehicle. It's just that key card. So I really like that idea, and it would be a lot easier to carry that, and
Certainly.
not have to leave it in the vehicle because you thought it was too heavy to carry around all the time. But yeah, let's not make it easy for people. That's what's that called? Crime of opportunity. You know,
No, it
if you
certainly
just,
is, and
yeah,
that's what most criminals look for. They just look for an opportunity. They want something easy, right? Like I said, they don't want to be detected. But then
right.
if they are detected, and here's the other thing too, Bob, and I think it has a lot to do with, and I'm not trying to do societal, evaluation here, but I think that we do realize that with the COVID shutdown, there was a mental health crisis. A lot of people start self medicating. A lot of people start self medicating with illicit drugs. Those are expensive. So
Hmm.
of course you're going to see crimes go up when there is a drug crisis, and there is absolutely a drug crisis going on in this country with heroin and other illicit drugs, the synthetics and things like that. So
Hmm.
they're desperate to get this money, and I think that has a lot to do with a lot of the crime, like the assaults and such that have been happening. These people are not of their right mind.
Right.
They're high or they're hurting, and we're hurting for a fix, and they're going to do whatever they have to do to get that. So yeah, don't make it easy for them.
That's right.
Don't make
Yeah.
it easy for them.
Okay. So, well, those are the two topics we want to talk about. It's really
Right.
personal safety around catalytic converter theft and leaving your key fob in the vehicle. Uh,
Right.
so let's just have some closing points around that. How about some closing thoughts? Catalytic converters. Um, doing a little bit of research for this and what Mike Antich has already done. Um, there's legislation being presented to deter the theft of catalytic converters. The problem is, it's not the converter they want; it's the stuff inside. So even if you etch a serial number on it, it's not the
Right.
outside of the converter they're looking for. So I'm not sure that's going to have much. I saw a lot of companies are building like cages that go around it, making it
Right. Making
harder
it
to
tough.
cut
Right.
through.
Correct.
So there's things out there people can do to try and make it harder for somebody to just get under your vehicle and cut it off. So that's interesting. And then really, not having your vehicle stolen or having things stolen from your vehicle is really in a sense on you, right?
Yeah.
Don't leave your key fob in a vehicle. Lock your vehicle. Take your keys. Lock your vehicle, right? Um,
Yeah.
and park somewhere where there's plenty of lighting and not an area where people can hide behind a bush or a dumpster and attack you when you're approaching your car. So yeah,
Correct.
good stuff.
So I think a lot of this legislation, and the reason I'm putting the numbers on them is to get the people who are receiving the metals and such. So the people where the stolen items are being fenced, basically, are being sold. So they
Yes.
got to go after those folks also, because they're thieves also, right? They're
Yeah.
trying to make a quick buck off of somebody who did something illegal. So they're trying to stop the ability to sell this stuff, and then hopefully that will deter some of the thefts. So that's that. And then a lot of these, listen, if it's some dude walking down the street who's just looking for some change or whatever that's left in the vehicle, and they push the button and the car starts and they take off, highly unlikely that they're actually taking it to a chop shop. But there are vehicle thieves who take it to a chop shop. So again, no matter what, your vehicle's stolen. So
Yeah.
it's just really, really simple. And have I said this during this podcast? Take your keys, lock your door every time. I think
Yeah.
is is that coming through? I mean,
I hope so.
I hope so too. You know,
I'll say that my sister-in-law's Hyundai was stolen um, from the key fob hack. She didn't leave her key in there.
yeah,
The police recovered it. It was not taken to a chop shop. It was taken for a
no,
joyride.
right,
And
right,
and the joyride, they totaled it. She said that she
right.
went to it
Wreck
at
it.
the
Yeah,
junkyard where it was impounded and
yeah,
looked at it, and it was like it had been driven off a bridge.
right.
And you know, the insurance company just totaled it. There was no sense in even fixing it. So
Did
there's not even a good reason to steal a car. It's just because they could.
right.
And that's
Exactly.
unfortunate. So luckily she wasn't injured or involved in that. So that's good.
Right. That's the
All right.
upside, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
don't leave valuables in the vehicle. Don't leave any of your company equipment or product in the vehicle. Take it out every night at the end of every work day. Take it out
Mhm.
again. You don't need to incentivize anything. Take that stuff out. Lock it up. I know it's a little extra work, but it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, there's a good one for personal safety for anybody, not just fleet related, although it does impact fleets tremendously. And it's very expensive for companies to have fleets because a lot of their vehicles get impacted by this. So, but the most important thing is do not approach somebody who's doing anything to your vehicle. Just call 911 and stay away.
Correct.
So, all right. Well, we're trying to get these a little bit quicker so people can not get too bored or listen to it on the way into work. So we're going to cut it off here. Phil, have a great weekend. I appreciate everything you do for these podcasts and your knowledge. And we'll throw a bone to Mike Antich on this one because he did a lot of work for us.
Thank you, Mike.
So thank you, Mike.
Good guy, great researcher,
Yeah,
great writer.
absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, a perfect person to if you don't know anything about the fleet industry, reach out to Mike Antich. He's just amazing.
Mike is the fleet industry. He truly is.
I would agree with that. All right. Well, until next week, have a great weekend and have a great week.
Thanks, Bob. Take care, buddy.
Yep. Thank you.